Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Today, I'm going to share with you how to handpick your professional lineup to help you to build your brand. So if you are in business, you are building a brand. There's no doubt about it. Whether you're intentional about it or not, you are. And at some point, if you have got big dreams, my friend, you will need to invest in your brand. How do you do it? Where do you start? Well, first of all, let me tell you this. Marketing is what leads to sales, but without branding, you have got nothing to help communicate your message in your marketing. So branding is always the first port of call. Make sure that you get your brand aligned before you go doing anything else. That's my first little bonus tip. Okay, so where do you start? How do you know what to do first? The first thing you must do when it comes to branding is know your brand. You have to know it inside and out. Sometimes this takes a little bit of time, and even this step takes investing because you don't know what you don't know. So know your vision, know your customer, know your brand personality, know where you're going. That is the first step, to have truly deep understanding about your own brand, because if you don't understand it, you won't be able to communicate it, and that will just confuse your audience, unfortunately. Okay, so the next step after you have those foundations in place is to choose a team that can work alongside you. Choose a team that can help you to reach that final destination and build the reputation that you're striving for. What do I mean by team? I don't mean staff. I don't mean like a receptionist. I don't mean a virtual assistant. I mean a branding A-team. Traditionally, this was done in agencies. So you would actually go to a marketing agency, and they still exist. And, that might be a good fit for you. And they sort of help you to do all of these things. The beauty about technology and the digital age and the way that that the whole industry has changed is that you are at this point where you can hand pick each individual on your team. So who do I mean when I'm talking about your branding A-team? First and foremost, of course, your designer or your brand stylist. So they're going to help you to create your brand identity and shape your entire brand personality through color and feelings and emotions and, getting those foundation elements right to help communicate your brand message in a visual way. To support that, you will also need a copywriter or a brand voice expert, and they will help you with your tone of voice, developing your language, and all that sort of stuff. So the word stuff, the captions, the website copy, they work in close relation to your designer. And the third secret is your photographer. So they are not only a brand photographer, but product photography and any imagery that's sort of representing your brand personality. So these three core people need to align, they need to come together, and they need to be able to represent your brand harmoniously. So you cannot choose these people willy-nilly because otherwise you're going to end up with a fruit salad. You're going to end up with a mixed bag, okay? So if you decided to go with an agency, you don't get much choice in who you end up with. That's that. They have their own team. They're already picked out. So the beauty of doing it this way is that you can actually develop a relationship. You can make sure that there is a connection there, a chemistry before working with any one or all of these people. And you can make sure that, that they are the expert in their field. They align with your philosophies. You love their work. So, you obviously have have to research these things. And this person, they might have been on your vision board for years. So that's another tip that I have for you is do not settle. When it comes to your brand, you cannot settle. You will only be disappointed, or it might get you only so far and then you realize you're having to reinvest 6 months to 12 months later. That happens a lot. So be picky about who you are choosing for your team. When you have finished choosing these 3 integral people as part of your A-team branding gurus, then it might be time to invest in a marketing specialist. So what a marketing specialist can do is to bring all of those things together, all of those elements that create your branding toolkit, and they can help you then to communicate it in the right place and get your message in front of the right people and in the right way. So as I mentioned, the beauty of doing it this way is that you do have a choice. You do get to choose. Don't settle. Don't choose the cheapest. Don't choose somebody that you met, at a networking function once. Make sure that you do your research, because this stuff is really important and it can actually make or break your reputation. If one of these things is out of alignment, then it can be really confusing for your audience. So your brand is absolutely worth it. As I said, your brand is the core. It is the core. It is the core message that you are trying to communicate. It is the story that you're trying to tell. It is the culture of your brand. It is what you stand for. So that having that in itself is already going to position you far ahead anybody else who hasn't done this type of work. So you do have the opportunity to build an A-team for your brand. And I guess the key thing here to remember is that you get to choose your team. You get to choose who you work with. Choose them by their strengths. Choose them by the connection that you have with them and the relationship that you can build over time, because branding doesn't just stop at a once-off transaction. Your brand is ever evolving. So you're going to be working with these people in the long term. So it really is important that you align with them and you understand them, and they understand you, and they understand where you want to go, and you have 100% confidence that they can take you and they can take your brand to where it needs to be. So if you are interested in that first step in getting those foundations right so that you can start your journey and you can start taking those steps towards investing in your brand, in the reputation, in your vision. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.